Hi everyone, it's Mimi. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a different type of video today and share with you guys how to properly apply Waterslide decal paper onto your tumblers. You don't have to use this specifically for tumblers. You can also use this on other non-porous substrates, but I'm going to specifically address how these get applied onto custom tumblers that you may be creating. So let's go ahead and get started. In front of you, I'm showing you the one that I currently use. It is for an inkjet printer. They do also make these for laser jet printers, as well as not only the clear, but they come in white as well. I typically go straight for the clear. It is the easiest that I've found to work with because I don't have to cut around the image to get rid of the white space. So first you want to have your images that you want to print. I do like to try to print the entire sheet at one time, but I know sometimes that's not feasible because you need a certain type of design and you don't want to waste the paper. It's not that expensive, but it can if you're constantly printing sheets that you're not going to be using. So I have tried other brands before, all through Amazon, and really I don't notice a huge difference. In the beginning, it was a lot more tearing and stuff like that, and that was basically user error. So you are going to have to kind of work with it and play with it and see what works best for you. So I'm going to share with you guys what I do to print them and then prep them and then finally use them on a tumbler. And I'll show you an example of that later on in this video. So there's two ways you can actually print your Waterslide decals. You can print them with the image face up, or you can reverse print them or mirror print them and then apply them with the image face down. And I'll go over that in a little bit. So I use an Epson ET2720. I just upgraded to a new printer and it works like a dream. I absolutely love that printer. So you'll use whatever software you use to add your images to the sheet that you're going to print. I usually always use my Photoshop program to do that, and then I let the ink completely dry. So make sure that you don't try to seal it right after you print, because especially for inkjets, the ink is still wet on the paper. If you are using laser jet clear Waterslide decal paper, which I've done before, you can actually apply it probably, I would wait at least 5 to 10 minutes just for everything to kind of soak in, but you do not have to seal it. So that is a benefit of using a laser Waterslide decal paper. After I'm satisfied that my Waterslide decals have been fully dried from me printing, I then go ahead and I will seal it 3 times with Rust-Oleum clear gloss spray. I don't have it in front of me right now. I will stick a picture up in the corner right here so you guys can see. I use it on every single one of my tumblers to seal in between processes and things like that. You can catch some of my other tutorials for those where I'm showing when I use it. So I basically do this type of motion. If I have a sheet like this, what I typically do is I take the nozzle and I spray horizontally, and then I spray vertically throughout all the images that I'm trying to seal. You do not want to do it so much that the spray kind of pulls in one area, but you just kind of want to, hover over it about 6 to 8 inches, spray in one direction and then spray in the opposite direction. That way I get the best coverage on each one of my coats. Depending on where you are and the temperature of where you're going to set them off to dry, Mine takes about 10 to 15 minutes, especially right now because I'm in Southern California and it is really hot, but I will do that 3 times. Make sure you don't skimp on that part because you do need that layer of protection, especially when you're going to apply it. I'm going to show you an example. So I printed these sunflowers out and it's very hard to see, but if you can see that like glossy sheen, and this has been sealed 3 times, and you'll be able to see it on the paper when it's fully covered. You also don't want to cut your images until you are done sealing. So you don't want to cut them and then seal them because the edges most likely will not get sealed properly and then you'll have issues later on. So this has been sealed 3 times. I have another example. This is a mirrored image, which I will show you how I will apply this later on in the video. But this has also been sealed 3 times, and then I just cut around it. Because the backing is clear, you don't need to be that precise. You really won't be able to see it once it's laid on top of whatever surface you're trying to adhere to. So let me go ahead and move all this stuff aside, and I'll go ahead and share with you guys how to apply these. I just have a kind of like a mock tumbler that I was kind of playing around with a certain technique. It is perfectly smooth. You do have to have a glossy surface in order to adhere the water slides to. If you sand it and then apply the water slide, you will be able to see like the sand marks underneath. So the best time to adhere it is when you have a smooth, glossy surface. I have also been in the step where I need to adhere it, but something happened and I need to sand it. If you spray your gloss spray, I would say about 1 to 2 nice even coats and kind of even that out where you had sanded. You can still go ahead and apply it, and I haven't had any issues. But the best time to actually adhere it is when you have a nice, flat, glossy, smooth surface, because whatever is underneath, you will be able to see it as far as texture-wise, if that is not the case. And again, I will have a link to all the water slide papers that I have tried. And seriously, none of them I would say that I would never use again. A lot of times I buy them because of the price or a sale or availability. Sometimes they're just not available. So make sure to check the description box for all the links that I normally have and that you might find useful when using water slides. Okay, so now I have my cup cradle. This is a homemade cup cradle that I made so that I can hold my tumblers steady while I apply either vinyl or my water slides. You also need some sort of bowl or container. Preferably, you want a container that is bigger than whatever image that you're trying to get onto your cup. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. In here is room temperature water. You don't want to go too hot with this. What I found is that when my water is too hot, my designs tend to curl up on the edges, which makes it a lot harder for me to smooth it down and get a nice finish. And sometimes because of that, it can tear. These are very delicate. They are super thin. So you do want to, not have a rough hand with them, which I think in the beginning when I first used them, I had an issue with because I tend to have a heavy hand. So I'm just going to place this decal that I've already sealed and cut out into my water. And depending on the brand that you use, it will take between 30 seconds, sometimes a minute, for the decal to be ready to be placed. So I'm just going to pick an area where I think it will look nice. And when I find that area, I'm going to go ahead and just use the same water and wet the surface roughly around the same size. So you'll know that it's ready to be placed when, do you see that? It is sliding right off the backing paper. So this is ready to go. Because I printed this mirrored, I can just stick this right where I want it to go. So this is face down, and then I'm just going to slightly tug on the backer paper, and then I'll use my thumb of my other hand to kind of hold the water slide in place so it doesn't slide off with it. And it is as easy as that. The great thing about water slides is that they're repositionable when they are wet, so you can have time to kind of smooth out the edges, especially because this is a round surface. I also recommend using some sort of squeegee tool. This helps a lot getting all the water out from underneath. And you will definitely be able to see when your decal is laying flat. You'll see all the water out from underneath, and it'll look like it was like printed on top of your tumbler. So I will use my fingers to kind of try to get it down around the curved area. I might have to actually cut into it for it to lay flat. So you just want to take a really sharp knife and do this very carefully, because you might cut into your design and then you have to do this all over. But I'm just going to cut where the clear area is, if you guys can see that, and then smooth out that section. And I might have to go around and do that in a couple of areas. The reason you want a very sharp knife is you will have the tendency to create jagged lines if you don't. And because this has already been epoxied, you don't have to worry about hurting the tumbler surface, because you will not even be able to see it once another coat of epoxy is on here. Okay, great. We got it all down nice and smooth. You guys can see that. I'll then take a dry paper towel, or you can use a microfiber cloth, and slowly and carefully remove the remaining water that's around the decal. And this is so that your decal will have a chance to dry without any moisture around it or underneath it. Oh, there. Do you see that? This is why you need to not do it with a heavy hand. But I can place that right back. And this is how forgiving it is. As long as I position it back or as closely to line up. So I make boo-boos too, as I'm sure everybody does. So I just wanted to show you a way to fix it. If it's too bad of a break, I will go ahead and redo it. Everything is adhered. I don't even think you can see where that broke off. This is why this Waterslide paper is so awesome. And then what you want to do is go ahead and set this off to the side and let it dry. It takes between, depending on your water slides that you use, I have found about 1 to 2 hours is safe. I do always seal my water slides before I epoxy it. So I just seal it one time with just a clear gloss spray, same as I used to seal the water slide before I used it. And then I can go ahead and epoxy right over it. I'm not sure if it's absolutely necessary to seal it. I just do it as a precaution just so that I don't get any lifting on the sides and it's going to be drama free. So I will go ahead and also place some of these on the other side just to show you how to do it the opposite way when you just have the design facing up. And I'll do that in fast motion. You guys have already seen me do it. And then you can see the steps I take to adhere the regular type of decals. And there you have it. Look how beautiful that looks. And here is the other one. And normally if I have a water slide to do and then on the opposite side I'm doing vinyl, I always lay down my vinyl first and then work on the water slide, only because the vinyl can get wet. Nothing's going to happen to it. But sometimes if I do it the reverse, I tend to worry that, laying it down on the surface when it's not fully dry might actually have it peel up or stick to it. You just don't want to risk that. So if you're going to apply vinyl on the opposite side, I would do that first. But there it is. That's all there is to it, to getting some awesome water slide decals onto your custom tumblers. And then, of course, the sky's the limit. Now, if you are working on a darker surface, I will do another video on the hack that I use in order to get a kind of seamless design, especially on something intricate like this where you don't want to cut it out by hand. So hopefully this is helpful. I hope you guys use this as a resource in case you are struggling with water slides or need some information on what they are and how to use them, but let me know down below if you guys have used water slides before, and I hope you guys take this technique and run with it. So until next time, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you guys really soon in another video. Bye everyone.